Today is Friday, November 17th. We'll tell you where Americans protesting the war in the Middle East delayed traffic and ended up getting arrested. This as the fighting in Gaza is expected to expand. Also, why there is a new bipartisan effort to get one U.S. lawmaker booted from Congress. Plus, we'll tell you about a crackdown on those fake designer bags in New York City in what turned out to become the largest seizure of counterfeit goods in American history. What to expect from another attempt to launch the biggest and most powerful rocket ever built. It exploded the first try. And when you'll be able to buy cars on Amazon. Those stories and even more news to know next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. American protesters upset about the war in the Middle East have started to become more coordinated and in some cases, more disruptive. Just yesterday, demonstrators targeted bridges on both sides of the country. On the West Coast, hundreds of people chained themselves together and blocked all lanes of traffic on the upper deck of the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge. They were trying to get the attention of President Biden and other world leaders who were in the area for a global trade summit, demanding that they call for a ceasefire in Gaza and stop sending aid to Israel. Traffic ended up being backed up for hours during the morning rush hour before authorities arrested dozens of people and towed away their cars. The morning rush was delayed for hours on the East Coast, too. About 100 protesters stopped traffic on the bridge that connects Boston to Cambridge, also chanting, "Ceasefire now." And remember, protesters calling for a ceasefire also clashed with police Wednesday night outside the Democratic National Committee headquarters in D.C. And then there are some people resorting to more aggressive tactics. Members of Congress in both parties say they've now seen an increase in death threats and other disturbing incidents, some even involving their young children. And unfortunately, some people have actually gotten hurt. Earlier this month, a pro-Israel protester died after his head hit the ground during a fight with a pro-Palestinian protester. A Southern California college professor was arrested and charged just yesterday with involuntary manslaughter. Of course, there have also been many more peaceful protests all across the country, including some of the largest demonstrations on both sides of the issue. Well, there are signs the war in Gaza could be expanding soon. Israel dropped leaflets across parts of southern Gaza, where Israel had previously told people they'd be safe. They're calling on civilians in 4 southern towns to evacuate to shelters. The Israeli military has already claimed control over northern Gaza. But Israel defense minister says troops are going to keep advancing for many months, that it's necessary for security of the whole region that Israel take out the Hamas terror group wherever it is. Though aid organizations are warning any Israeli move to the south could make the already dire humanitarian situation in Gaza even worse. About 1.5 million Palestinians have been driven from their homes so far, and shelters are already far over capacity. It's also hard for the people of Gaza to get any kind of updates at this point because internet and telephone services collapsed this week. So this could be a long-term communications blackout, cutting the Palestinian people off from all the links to the outside world, and not a lot of information is getting out either. But the Israeli military has given some updates about their search of Gaza's largest hospital. Yesterday, they showed video of what commandos said was a tunnel entrance and weapons found in a truck also inside the compound. Plus, the military says it found the body of one of the hostages that Hamas abducted from Israel on October 7th. She's the 3rd hostage confirmed dead. 4 others have been freed and 1 has been rescued. But more than 200 men, women, and children are still thought to be in Hamas custody. One Israeli official says information about all the hostages was found on computers and other devices, and that info is now being transferred for more investigation. There's a new push to expel a controversial Republican from Congress, and it's being led by members of his own party. The House Ethics Committee released its long-awaited report into Congressman George Santos. It lays out evidence that shows Santos deceived donors, stole from his campaign, and then used the money for his own personal use. For example, it says he used campaign funds to pay down some of his personal debt, make big purchases at resorts and luxury stores, and even smaller purchases on spa treatments and OnlyFans. Santos responded to all these findings with a social media post, calling the report biased and accusing the committee of going to extreme lengths just to smear his name. Though he also announced that he changed his mind about seeking re-election next year, so he plans to leave Congress when his term is up in 2025. Well, many of his colleagues don't even want him around that long. The Ethics Committee's Republican chairman says he's going to file another resolution today to get Santos booted from the House. 2 Democrats have said they'll do the same, though there won't actually be a vote until Congress returns from its Thanksgiving break at the end of this month. Already, Santos is facing criminal charges, and that trial is set to start this fall. The biggest and most powerful rocket ever built is almost ready for its next launch. SpaceX is planning another test flight of its Starship system tomorrow. The hope is it will go better than the first test flight back in April when the Starship exploded in midair. But since then, SpaceX CEO Elon Musk says his company has made more than 1,000 changes to the rocket. If this second attempt is successful, it will be considered a monumental step, and SpaceX will move right on to getting Starship ready for more complex missions. But if this test fails, it will have a ripple effect. NASA has contracts with SpaceX worth billions of dollars, since the space agency has been hoping to use the rocket system to send Americans back to the moon for the first time in 5 decades and eventually put humans on Mars. But the exact timeline of those missions could change depending on how everything goes tomorrow. You can watch the launch live since SpaceX is going to be streaming it on X as early as 8 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. We have more news for you coming up, but first, this episode is brought to you by Copilot. Add in the holidays and the sicknesses that pop up this time of year to our typical busy lives, and no wonder exercise can often fall to the bottom of our to-do list. But this year, I'm feeling so good getting my workouts in each week thanks to Copilot. The Copilot app offers a connection to a real-life trainer from the comfort and convenience of my home. My trainer, Megan, made me personalized workout plans based on my body and my current lifestyle, and she is so responsive too whenever I message her. Plus, it's incredibly motivating having her cheering me on. It adds in an accountability piece that I've now realized makes such a difference. And it's such a cost-effective way to have access to a personal trainer too. I'd love for you to follow my lead to get fit and feel fabulous. Give Copilot a try to find out why it was listed by Forbes as the top-rated personal trainer app of 2023. Head to go.mycopilot.com/newsworthy to get a 14-day free trial with your own personal trainer. That's go.mycopilot.com/newsworthy to get a free 14-day trial with your very own personal trainer. Take a back seat and let Copilot help you reach your fitness goals. Now back to the news. You'll have a chance to see meteor showers starting very late tonight into early tomorrow morning. The Leonids meteors are known as Earth grazers, meaning they get close to the horizon and they're bright with long, possibly colorful tails. If you want to check them out, NASA recommends getting outside around midnight tonight, no matter where you live. Lie down on your back away from any lights, let your eyes get used to the darkness, and then look east. NASA expects about 15 shooting stars per hour, so about 1 every 3 to 6 minutes. They should be pretty easy to see, though, if the weather cooperates, because bright moonlight is not expected. The meteor shower should last until dawn on Saturday. It was the largest seizure of counterfeit goods in American history. Federal authorities raided a storage facility in New York City, where they apparently found a sprawling floor-to-ceiling collection of knockoff designer items, including phony handbags, shoes, clothes, and more. All in all, officials say about 219,000 fake items were recovered, worth more than $1 billion. And 2 people are now being charged with trafficking counterfeit goods. If convicted, they could face up to 10 years in prison. Counterfeit luxury knockoffs like these have actually been a staple of the underground New York City shopping scene for generations. And it's well known that shoppers can get items that look identical to the designer brands for hundreds or even thousands of dollars less than their authentic versions. But law enforcement officials are cracking down now, since they say counterfeit goods hurt legitimate businesses, governments, and customers, and inspire criminal organizations to smuggle goods through U.S. borders. In other words, expect a lot more busts like this. Listen up, Apple users. A new change could finally bridge the blue-green bubble divide, at least a little bit. In case you don't know what we're talking about, if you get texts on your iPhone from another iPhone, they'll usually come in as iMessages, which show up blue, whereas the text from an Android device will be green. And usually, that's your first clue as how the conversation is going to go, since when you try to text between iPhones and Androids, photos and videos tend to be lower quality, red notifications and other features like group chats aren't available, and if you're not connected to a cellular network, you can't send anything over the internet. Well, all of that is changing. Apple announced yesterday it's going to adopt a standard protocol through Rich Communication Systems, aka RCS, later this year. And with that, everyone will get the same industry-wide chat features no matter what kind of phone they have. Granted, Apple is still not going to do away with iMessaging between Apple devices, saying it'll still be the best, most secure experience for Apple users. But at least now, you probably won't be kicked out of your friend group chat for getting an Android. So far, no exact date has been announced for the change, but some reports predict it will come out with the next software update. Ever feel like you can buy just about anything on Amazon? Well, that's about to become even more true. Starting next year, you'll even be able to buy a car on Amazon. The online retail giant is partnering with Hyundai so that dealerships can sell cars on the platform. Buyers will be able to pick up their new ride at dealerships or have them delivered. Ultimately, though, the final seller is still that local dealer. As part of the agreement with Amazon, Hyundai will include Alexa voice assistants in its cars starting in 2025. Hyundai is the first automaker to partner with Amazon, but other companies are expected to be added by the end of next year. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you one extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, a quick break to thank our sponsor, Lumi. If you are looking for the deodorant to keep you smelling fresh and clean all over this holiday season, look no further. Lumi Whole Body Deodorant is proven to keep working for up to 72 hours. So if 3 days of odor control isn't something to be thankful for, I don't know what is. Lumi is truly my go-to, from the body wash to the stick deodorant to the on-the-go deodorant wipes. I love all the options and the effectiveness. Unlike a lot of aluminum-free deodorant that just tries to mask odor, Lumi acts as a sort of pre-odorant, actually blocking bacteria from digesting fluids on our skin, which then prevents BO from happening in the first place. Lumi's starter pack is actually perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off Lumi's starter pack with our exclusive code and link. And for a limited time, returning customers can get $5 off their next purchase of $30 or more, too. So use code NEWSWORTHY at LumiDeodorant.com. LumiDeodorant.com. Thank you to Lumi for making this holiday season smell a whole lot better. Okay, now back to Feel Good Friday. So this year, we all have a chance to celebrate with the so-called Thanksgiving Grandma. Wanda Dench's reputation as the Thanksgiving Grandma started back in 2016 when she tried to text her grandson, inviting him to spend the holiday with her, not realizing he had changed his number. So instead of her grandson, she ended up getting through to a teenager she had never met, Jamal Hinton. And even though it was a wrong number, Wanda told Jamal he was welcome too. He took her up on the offer and posted screenshots of their whole exchange online. Soon, their story spread all over the internet, and it's gone viral every year for the last 7 years. Now they spend every Thanksgiving together, along with other get-togethers throughout the year. And this year, 2 more strangers will be joining them through Airbnb. People have been signing up for the chance to eat a classic holiday dinner, watch movies, and play board games, even stay at Dench's new home in Arizona. And as part of this promotion, Airbnb has promised to make a donation to the hunger relief organization Feeding America. The booking window is now closed, but you'll probably see more about this holiday celebration on social media. Wanda and Jamal plan to include their new friends in their annual Thanksgiving selfies. All right, we'll be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode. We're talking about America's growing political divide, from the Thanksgiving dinner table to Capitol Hill, and what we can do about it. And of course, we'll be back on Monday with your next news roundup. For now, thank you so much for listening, and have a great weekend.